Hey, it's Ellie. Welcome back to another Sims 4 recreation speed build, which is a series where I recreate a TV or movie set into The Sims 4. So today I'm going back to a build that I did, I think 2 weeks ago now. I did the exterior of the Queen Mansion, which is also the X-Men Mansion, and I think something from Smallville actually I saw. So yeah, I might use this again for a few other builds, the exterior at least. But for this one I did the Queen's Mansion on the interior, and it was kind of difficult. The problem was that the actual Queen Mansion, is like 5 stories and way bigger than my sim build, like way bigger. So I actually had to make my sim build bigger. I did that before I started recording because I just realized I wouldn't be able to fit everything in the way I needed to. So I moved the whole house way forward. There's like half as much driveway now. And I made all the back, I just pulled it out kind of, so made it a lot bigger on the inside, and I was able to fit everything I needed in here. So I've got the foyer, which you see a lot in the episodes. I've got the, I guess I would call it like a den, a living room, which they spend a ton of time in. They've got the TV in there. They always have their guests in there. So I did that room, and I also got the dining room in there, which they do spend quite a bit of time in as well. And then, well, I had to make a kitchen in the house because otherwise it's useless in the Sims game. But the kitchen actually, I don't think you've ever seen it in the show. I looked for it. I mean, maybe I missed it, maybe it's in a different episode. I kind of was scanning season 1 before I started the build to get screenshots and whatnot, because there are really no screenshots of the interior that were good enough for me to work off of and really know what was in there. And most importantly, know the shape of the room. That's really important when I try to recreate things. Like, the room shape has to be somewhat similar, or the whole room just doesn't work out the way it should. So yeah, I was scanning season 1. I didn't find too many shots of the house, to be honest. I mean, they spend a lot of time in the foyer and the den, the dining room. Like I said, I was able to get those screenshots pretty well. I was able to get Oliver's room quite a bit. He goes in there. He's the main character, so you see his bedroom quite a bit. And then I also got some somewhat decent screenshots. Well, okay, the screenshots aren't that good, but there's a scene where they go into Thea's room, which I was quickly able to scan and kind of see what was in there as best I could, and I took screenshots that I could manage to. They're really hard to get screenshots because I was using Netflix, and I can only go like 3 seconds back at a time. Like, I can go frame by frame in my video editor, and that is so nice sometimes, but I cannot do that in Netflix, so the screenshots were pretty bad. I'm sorry. Also, Oliver has his shirt off in like 3 of them, I think, because like I said, he's in his bedroom a lot of the time, and yeah. Anyway, the room I had the most trouble with was Myra's room. Moira? I don't really know how to pronounce her name. I feel like everybody says it differently in the show. Oliver's mom. She's hardly in her bedroom. There's one part in season 1 where she like gets shot at or something. I can't quite remember what happened because I was scanning that part and I didn't get that far when I started rewatching it while I was building, but yeah, she stays in her bed for a while. So I saw a little bit of her bedroom there. And then there's one scene too where Walter is shuffling through all their stuff trying to find out if Mara is lying about, everything. So yeah, I was able to kind of see what was in their room from that as well. Actually, one of the things that I thought was really noticeable was he picked up this like marble horse statue. It looked like a horse anyway, and they have something very similar in The Sims 4. So I was able to get that in the bedroom, and I thought that worked out pretty well. I'm working on the den now. I mentioned it earlier, but yeah, I think possibly this room is the closest room to what's actually in the show. The shape of it is almost right. The windows are a little off, but that's just because it's the Sim windows. I could either make the whole wall kind of go out in a at an angle, or I could use these windows which kind of have the angle in them, and I decided to just use the windows instead of the whole wall. I just thought it would be better in the long run, because the shape of that as a wall just is very hard to put a roof on. It always looks weird to me, and I hate that, so I went with the square wall angled windows. Works out much better that way. But other than that, a lot of this room is pretty accurate. There's that lounge couch that doesn't have a back, and behind that is a table with a boat on it, and they have that in The Sims 4. And they have all these tan couches with the center table, and yeah, just everything kind of worked out in this room. They have a bluish fireplace, like it looks kind of marble or stone or something like that. There's even a gold framed picture above that fireplace, I think. That was the one. But yeah, this room, it looks nice. There are 4 archways into the room, but those 2 smaller ones I'm pretty sure you can't use because there's a curtain in front of them. But either way, your sim should have plenty of space to get into this room. I think that's where it's laid out in the house too, in the actual Queen Mansion. I think it's directly behind the foyer, but I'm not positive. They go through the rooms kind of fast. At one point, I thought the dining room was in the back of there, but then I realized it seemed like the foyer was actually in the back and the dining room maybe off to the side somewhere else. There's a lot of hallways in the Queen Mansion that I just couldn't get in my sim build because, like I said, the mansion's way bigger, so I kind of had to fit everything in the way I could. I was still trying to get the room shapes right. The dining room is not perfect. I'm not even sure if it's good. I don't know if I would go that far, but I mean, I did the best I could. I will say that. The thing is that the shape was off to begin with, and that just really messed up my build for it. There is so much extra space in the dining room that I just started trying to fill it, and it looked horrible. I do end up getting a decent look at the end, but yeah, see, the problem with the dining room is that there's actually 2 entrances, first of all, which I just couldn't get in because then there would have to be an archway through the foyer, and there's no archway in the foyer, so I just didn't want to do that. So I just stuck with 1 entrance, and the dining room looks to be a very square shape in the show, and I just couldn't make it that square in the sim build. So, yeah, I guess that's where the problem was. I mean, I could have cut it off, I suppose, to make it more square. And you'll notice that I do that a lot upstairs. So I'm sorry, but there's quite a few, like, sealed off rooms that are just empty, not even wallpaper or anything, because I just needed to get the shape of the room better, especially upstairs. But for the dining room, I thought I could just fill this section. I didn't want to leave that whole section empty. I didn't know what else I would possibly put in there because there's no other rooms that you really see from the show, at least in the first season. I was considering going back to the episode. I don't even remember what season it is, maybe 2 or possibly 3, where Slade comes back and he gets a tour of the Queen Mansion from I don't remember who gave him the tour. Maybe it was Moira. I think it's Moira, isn't it? Such a weird name to pronounce. Anyway, and I think Theo was there too, and Oliver was freaking out when he came in, but I should have gone back to watch that episode too, because I probably would have seen a few more rooms or something that I could have used that extra space for. But I already built it. I didn't want to spend, honestly, like more than an hour searching through all the episodes trying to find what the house looked like. I went through almost all of the first season and I thought that was good. Then I just really wanted to rewatch the whole thing, so I started building and I started over at season 1, episode 1. It was great. I'm having a lot of fun rewatching it. I actually haven't seen season 5 yet, so no worries, there's no spoilers in this video for that. But I just kind of decided maybe I'll rewatch the whole series before I watch season 5 just to get a refresher. It's been a while since I watched the last season, and I don't really remember what happened. I have like bits and pieces, but I can't really remember the full storyline, so I'm just gonna watch the whole series over again because why not? I think that works out. Oh, I did want to mention, because I kind of just did it, I cut out me building the kitchen, and I decided to put the grand piano in like after I built the kitchen. So yeah, you just saw a little flash of the kitchen, but the build was getting way too long. When I put it in my video editor, it was more than 30 minutes at first. Then I cut out all my random pauses as best I could, because when I'm building for many hours like that, sometimes I have to get up and like go eat or let my dogs out or something. But yeah, once I cut out all those pauses, I think I got it down to like 25-ish minutes, 27-ish minutes. But yeah, that was still a little too long for me. I don't really like to make builds that long. Plus, I don't like to talk for that long. That's a long time to speak without stopping. So I decided to just cut out the kitchen completely. Since you don't even see it in the show, as far as I can tell, I didn't think that would really matter that much because, it could be anything, and I tried my best to make it fit in with the house. I probably did a terrible job. It's so big, so I had to fill it with a bunch of stuff, but yep, it's a kitchen. You can live in this house with your Sims and not die, so that's a bonus, I guess. Yeah, here I'm working on Moira's room. She, I think, has maybe a couch in her room. I'm not really sure, but they all seem to have like a whole couch and living room set in their room, so I figured she probably did too. Everybody has a fireplace in their room. Every room has a fireplace, I think it looks like anyway. Like every single room. So There's a fireplace in all the rooms. I used the new vampire fireplace actually, and it's really awesome. I love that fireplace so much. It looks so much like more vintage. I don't really know how to describe it, but it just fits in so much better with many houses. I think there's like a marble one which is really nice, but it seems so fancy. A few modern fireplaces that would never work in a house like this. Then there's like a few brick ones, but they just don't have the same like old feel to them that this fireplace from the Vampire Pack does. So I definitely preferred that one in most of the rooms, except I think maybe Thea got a marble fireplace, but yeah. Oh, there's that horse statue too. I just saw it a few like seconds ago. Yeah. I also made sure to include in here the grandfather clock because when Walter is sifting through all of the things, he opens the clock, I think, and finds the book, Robert Queen's book, which seems blank to him at first, so he's very confused about that, but you probably know what happened already, so yeah, I just made sure to include that clock. This one is Thea's room that I just started working on. I think this room was pretty easy. It wasn't I think Oliver's room was probably the easiest because, like I said, there's the most screenshots and time spent in that room, but I could pretty much see a lot of Thea's room from that one scene that they went in her room with, so I tried to get it the best I could. Some of the furniture is off, like for instance this chair that I just put down is like a blue floral print chair in the show, but since it's very unlikely that I can match things like that into The Sims, I usually just go for more the vibe of the furniture, if that makes any sense. Like blue floral print is kind of cute and fun to me, so instead of that I did pink polka dots. I mean, it's definitely not similar, but I think it has the same sort of feel to it. And then there's, I think, like fluffy yellow couches, so I just kind of went for these purple ones instead. I don't know, I thought they fit well. A lot of the furniture, even though it's in like Thea and Oliver's room, it just looks a little more fancy, I guess. Oliver's room not so much. He has very plain furniture. But yeah, the only thing I kind of made up here was putting this little TV section that I'm building in the back of Thea's room. I don't really know what's back there. I didn't see a TV above the fireplace or anywhere else that it might have been, but I figured there probably was a TV in her room since there seems to be a TV in everyone's room. So yeah, I just made this little TV room or area to kind of fill up that space. Oh, and I also realized there's windows in the back of that desk and behind the bookshelf. There's no windows in the actual bedroom of Thea's, but when I was checking over the house before I finished my build, I actually realized that I had forgotten to extend that portion when I made the house bigger before I started my build. So I extended that and I was able to just cut off the windows, so it looks very similar to Thea's room now. And lastly, I'm just working on Oliver's room here. This one was definitely the easiest to see the most of it, like I already said. The shape is slightly off, but I think it works. You can definitely tell that it's Oliver's room from the screenshots, if that makes any sense. I mean, I think I kind of got everything in there that is worth mentioning and worth seeing, you know? So I think everything kind of worked out pretty well. That's the only rooms I was able to get in the build, but those are the only rooms that matter, so I don't think it matters too much that nothing else is in the house, because I mean, who else are you going to be playing in this house? But anyway, that's about the end of the speed build, so I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to give it a like and subscribe to my channel because I post Sims videos every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you in the next video. Until then, bye!